So now we are going to start set theory chapter, unit 1, maths. If I do any mistake, please correct me because I am new. This is my first time doing this thing. So first, what is set and who discovered the set? The set was discovered by a German mathematician, George Cantor. How he encountered it? He encountered the set while working on a trigonometrical series problem. And while doing this, he encountered the set. The set concept is very useful in many fields, like it has proved to be a particular important in the foundation of relation and functions, sequences, geometry, probability, theory, etc. And it also has many application in logic, philosophy. What is our objective? There are three objectives which we need to focus on. First is understand the concept of set, perform the different operations on sets, write the power set of a given set. This is our objective which we need to understand. First, what is set? Basically, set is a collection of objects of a particular kind, such as, sorry, um, first we need to understand the collection. In general terms, a collection of objects of a particular kind, such as peak of cards, a herd of cattle, a crowd of people, cricket team. This thing we use in our general life. So in maths, we also use the collection, which are not going to change from person to person. For example, odd natural number less than 10 are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Whoever find this particular thing, all those people will give the same result, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So the result is not going to be changed from person to person. So these kind of collection are called set. So set is a well-defined collection of objects in the sense that we can definitely decide whether a given object belongs to a given collection or not. So its result is not going to be changed from person to person. These kinds of collection are not considered as set. For example, the collection of bright student in class 11 of a school, because the meaning of bright is not specific from person to person, it changes. The collection of renowned mathematician of the world, the renowned mathematician, it can, for us Indians, it can be some Indian mathematician, and for other country members, it can be different. So these words have no specific meaning in particular. For example, in second above, the criteria for determining a mathematician as most renowned may vary from person to person. That is, it is not a well-defined collection. That's why these collection are not considered to be a set. We shall say that a set is a well-defined collection of objects. The following points may be noted. First, objects, elements, and members of a set are synonyms term, which means both all three terms are referred to single thing. Sets are usually denoted by a capital letter A, B, C, X, Y, Z. So we generally use a capital letter to denote the name of a set. The element of a set are represented by small letter A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and we denote the elements of a set generally with a small letter, but we can use different letters too. But general case, we use these things. If A is an element of a set A, we say that A belongs to A. The Greek symbol epsilon is used to denote the phrase belong to. Am I correct? This symbol is known as epsilon. Anyone knows?
Yes.
So this symbol denote that the particular element is belong to a set. Thus we write, for example, I think it is alpha. Alpha belong to A. If B is not an element of a set A, we write B does not belong to A. So this symbol means does not belong to. Does in the set V of vowel in the English alphabet, A belong to V because A is a vowel and it belongs to the set V, and V is the name of a set which consists all the vowel A, E, I, O, U. Where L is not a vowel, it is a consonant, so it does not belong to V. In the set P of a prime factors of 30, comma 3, 3 belong to B, but 15 does not belong to P because 15 is not a prime factor. There are two methods to represent a set. Now we understand that what is set and how we can say that this particular element belong to set and this particular element does not belong to set. We know the symbol of those kind of thing. This thing means belong to and this thing means does not belong to. Now the representation can be done with by two methods. One is roster or tabular form and the second one is set builder form. In roster form, all the elements of a set are listed, the element being separated by commas and are enclosed within braces, curly braces. For example, the set of all even positive integer less than 7 is described in the roster form as 246. So we only write the element in between the braces and separate those elements with commas. Some more example of representation of a set in roster form are given below. The set of all natural number which divide 42 is 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 14, 21, 42. Note that in roster form, the order in which the elements are listed is immaterial, which means we can write 2 here and 1 here. It does not matter. But the thing which matter that if someone else mm, find out the natural number which divide 42, if all these elements are listed there, that thing matter. It does not matter in what order these elements are present there. So order does not matter in set builder form. Thus the above set can also be represented as 1, 3, 7, 21, 2, 6, 14, 42. So order does not matter, only matter that the element which are present in it is same or not. The set of vowel in English alphabet has A, E, I, O, U. This thing can be represented like this. The set of odd natural number is represented by 1, 3, 5, dot, 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 because all odd natural number we cannot write down because it is an infinite set. And these 3 dot means the 3 dots tell us that the list is endless. The 3 dots mean and so on. It may be noted that while writing the set in roster form, an element is not generally repeated, such as all the elements are taken as distinct. So if there is a same element like this, school is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 characters. So if we want to write down the set of this, then we only need to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 letters. We should not repeat a particular letter, but it is not prohibited, but it is considered not to repeat. In set builder form, all the elements of a set possess a single common property. So in set builder form, if we want to write a set in set builder form, so we need to know what kind of property all the element of that particular set hold, and we need to write it down that particular property. For example, in set A, E, I, O, U, all the elements possess a common property. Each of them is a vowel. As we can see, A, E, I, O, U, all the elements are vowel in the English alphabet, and no other letter possesses this property, denoting this set by V. So we are denoting A, E, I, O, U, this set by the name V. We write P is equal to X such that X is a vowel in English alphabet. It may be observed that we describe the set by using symbol X for elements of the set. So X is basically denoting all these elements A, E, I, O, U. These elements going inside the X and representing itself. So any other symbol like letter phi, comma z, etc. could also be used in the place of X. So it is not said that only we should use X. We can use any alphabet, whatever we like in the place of X. After the sign of colon, write the characteristic property possessed by the elements of the set and then enclose the description within braces. As we can see, after the sign of colon, there is a property written is a vowel in the English alphabet, and then uh, enclose the description within braces. And now the description has been enclosed within braces. The above description of the set V is read as, so this particular thing is read the set of all x such that x is a vowel, the set of all x such that x is a vowel of the English alphabet. In this description, the braces stands for the set of all. So these curly braces, this particular thing stand for the set of all. The colon stand for such that, and these two dots, the colon stand for such that. So the set of all x such that x is a vowel in English alphabet. That's how we read it. For example, the following description of a set A, x such that x is a natural number and x is greater than 3 and less than 10 is read as the set of all x such that x is a natural number and x is greater than 3, less than 10. Hence, the result is obvious. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are the elements of the set. If we denote the set described above in A, B, and C in roster form by A, B, and C respectively, then A, B, and C can also be represented in set builder form as this. X at the x is a natural number which divide 42, as all these three examples are listed above. So those example can also be converted into a roster form because we know their property which all those elements holds. So we can write those things like this. This example, write the set of all positive integer whose cube is odd. So as we know, the cube of even integer is always be going to be a cube, and the cube of odd integer is always be going to be odd. So set of, if we want to write a set of all odd integers, cube of write the set of all positive integer whose cube is odd. So we want to write set of odd integer whose cube is odd. So we use odd number and then cube it, and we get the odd integers cube. Hence, in the set builder form, we write the set x such that x is an odd positive integer or equivalent as 2k plus 1. This particular 2k plus 1, whatever we put inside k, natural number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we put 1, so 2 into 1, 2 plus 1, 3. So 3 is an odd number such that k is greater than or equal to 0, which means it is whole number. It is k is a k consists whole numbers only, and it gives result. Now, a set which does not contain any element is called the empty set. Now, what is empty set? Which does not, the set which does not contain any element, which means any element, that particular set cannot hold any kind of element. According to the definition, B is an empty set while A is not. We will understand this concept with the help of example. Consider the set x such that x is an integer, x square plus 1 is equal to 0. So x square plus 1 is equal to 0. We know that there is no integer whose sequence square is -1. So the above set has no elements. Hence, the result of this particular thing is going to be 5. We now define set B. B is equal to x such that x is a student presently studying in both class 10th and 12th. There is no student which can study simultaneously in two classes. So all this particular thing give also result as a 5. Now we observe that the student cannot study simultaneously in both classes 10 and 11. Hence the set B contains no element at all. Consider the set A which is equal to AX such that X is a student of class 11 presently studying in a school. We can go to the school and count the number of students presently studying in class 11 in the school. Thus, the set A contains a finite number of elements. So this particular set going to give me a kind of result, so it is not a um, empty set or null set. According to this definition, B is an empty set while A is not. The empty set is denoted by the symbol phi. This particular symbol name phi, we give below a few examples of empty set, such that let q is equal to x, such that x square minus 2 is equal to 0 and x is rational. Then q is an empty set because the equation x square minus 2 is equal to 0 is not satisfied by any rational number x. So what if the particular set does not give any kind of result? That set is called a empty set or null set, and the result which we get is in the term of this phi. Now finite set. In finite set, the number of elements which we the finite set are those in which the number of elements we can count or we know, and infinite set those we the number of elements which we don't know in total. Number of distinct elements of the set, and we denote it by n. So the number of elements of a set, for example, A consists of number of element in A consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 are the number of element which A consists. And we, if you want to know the number of element in A, we use this particular kind of notion, n uh, small bracket A, then a small bracket close, and equal to 5 we write down. If n A is some finite number, then A is a finite set. So as we know that Na is equal to 5, so it is the 5 is a finite number, we can write it down. So it is a finite set. Otherwise, the set A is said to be an infinite. If that particular number we cannot write that particular number, that is then that set is going to be an infinite. A set which is empty or consists of a definite number of element is called finite. A set which is empty. So empty set or null set is also a finite set or consists of a definite number of elements, and the set which consists of definite number of elements, which means the number which we can count. Otherwise, the set is called infinite. And if these two conditions are not met, then that particular set is called infinite. We have certain set which are like n stand for set of natural numbers, z stand for integers, q stand for rational number, r stand for real number, and z plus stand for positive integer. There is also one more symbol for integer, which is I. Q plus the set of positive rational number, and R plus for the set of positive real number. When we represent a set in roster form, we write all the elements of the set within braces. Whenever we write in roster form, as we know earlier that we write those elements in braces, roster form or tabular form in that particular section. It is not always possible to write all the elements of an infinite set within braces, as we know, because of the element does some of the sets do not show a particular pattern, so that we can guess what next is going to come, because the number of element of such set is not finite. However, if we represent some of the infinite set in the roster form by writing a few elements which clearly indicate the structure of the set followed or preceded by three dots. As we encountered this type of example earlier, that and also these kind of these kind of set are showing that in which order the number are going to be written, so that we can predict what next is going to come. But there are some set which do not distinguish this kind of uh, pattern, do not show this kind of pattern. So those kind of set we cannot write in set builder form, roster form or tabular form, and for that we need to use set builder form. For example, the set of real number, we cannot write down all the real number, But the set of real number cannot be described in this form because the element of this set do not follow any particular pattern. Equal and equivalent set. What are equal sets? So two set A and B are said to be equal if they have exactly the same element and we write A equal to B. So if like in example, let A is equal to 1 2 3 4 and B is equal to 3 1 4 2. So basically the numbers are only swapped from one place to another, but both these set consist the same elements in but their orders are different. And these kind of set are said to be equal set because the number of elements are same and also uh, the elements which are present in it is also same. Otherwise the set are said to be unequal and we write it like this. So equal set, if these two sets are equal we write A equal to B, and it is unequal we first draw a symbol equal and then we cross it, which denote that it is unequal to B. Now two finite set A and B are said to be equivalent if they have the same number of elements. We write A, which is equivalent to B. This particular set A equal to B, it is also an equivalent set because the number of elements are same. So if the number of elements in two sets are the same, then that particular group of set is said to be equivalent. So obviously all equal sets are equivalent, but all equivalent sets are not equal. This line should be noted. Now subsets, if every element of set A is also an element of a set B, then A is called a subset of B, or A is contained in B, we write it as A is a subset of B. So if there's element in A like 1 2 3 4 5 6 and there's element in B like 1 2, so the element in B 1 2 are also present in A, which is 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we say that uh, A is a subset of B. And if the element are not present, uh, then we write it like this: A is not a subset of B. Sorry, I mistaken. If A consists of 1 2 and B consists of 1 2 3 4 5 6, so A consists of element which are present in B, then we can write like A is a subset of B because B consists all the element which A have. If uh, B does not contain the element which A have, then we write like this. Now, let A and B be two sets. If A is a subset of B and A does not equal to B, then A is called a proper subset of B and B is called a superset of A. For example, A is equal to 1 2 3 is a proper subset of B, which is equal to 1 2 3 4. So if we are taking a subset which is not equal to the set from which we are comparing that particular set, so that particular set is called a superset if that set does not have all the elements which the other set have. As we can see, 1 2 3 is present in A, but B does not contain uh, sorry, A does not contain all the element of B. Only it contains three elements of B, and B consists of 1 2 3 4. So A is called a proper subset of B. But if both these sets consist the same element, then this set is not considered as proper subset. And let A and B is two set. If A is a subset of B and A does not equal to B, then A is called a proper subset. So in this, A is not equal to B, so A is called a proper subset of B, and B is called a superset of A, and B is called a superset of A. So B is a superset of A and A is a proper subset of B because A is not equal to B. If a set A has only one element, then we call it a singleton set. Thus, A is a singleton. So this is an example of singleton set. And what is singleton set? If there is only one element, then it is called a singleton set. And what is power set? So power set, for example, there is a set 1 comma 2. First we write down the subsets of 1 comma 2. So how many subset we can make? The subset which we can make are 1 2 3 4. Four subsets which we can make, which is one is 5, other one is 1 2 and 1 2. So if we talk this 1 2 and I think 5 is a proper subset of 1 2, and 1 2 as a superset of all. So we need to remember that phi is the subset of every set. The set of all these four subset is called the power set of 1 comma 2. So if we incorporate all these subsets into a single set like this, then this particular set is called a power set, and we write it like this. Whatever set uh, uh, what whatever set it is power set, we write that particular set name here, and we write p, and we enclose that particular set name with small bracket. Now we can also find out the number of element is going to be in the power set by using this formula 2 raised to the power m, where m is the number of element of that particular set. So if we know the number of element of a particular set, then we can find out the number of element are going to be in the power set of that particular set, and it will always be greater than the number of element of that set, because as we know, you can see that a consists 1 comma 2, but its power set consists 5 1 2 and 3. Now universal set, basically universal set you can consider as a thing from which things are made. It for example, for the set z of all integer, the universal set can be set q of rational number. So q is a rational number which can be written in the form of p by q, where q does not equal to 0, and z is a part of q, which means z is a subset of q, because z uh, q consists z. So we can consider q as a universal set in this condition. If in any particular context the set we find a set U which contain all the sets under consideration as subset of U, then set U is called the universal set. We note that the universal set is not unique. Basically, universal set is a, for we can, this is a kind of universal set where you can think that it is a thing which is superior than the set of which we are talking. So if we say that B is a set and A is a set, then all the sets are present inside the universal set. So universal set is a bigger fish. Or I say it is a sea, and universal set is a sea and all the sets are fish which are in that particular sea. So phi is a subset of every set, as I told you earlier. A set can easily have some element which are themselves set. For example, this, as you can see, 2 comma 3 is a set, but it can also be write down as an element, is a set having 2 comma 3 as one element, which is a set, and also elements 1 comma 4 which are not sets. So a set can have a set as an element. Now Venn diagram. This is a called a Venn diagram which is useful for visualizing the set. so that we get to know the better understanding of set. The Venn diagram was introduced by British logician John Venn. So most of the relationship between sets can be represented by means of diagram figure representing sets in the form of enclosed region in the plane are called Venn diagram, named after British logician John Venn. The universal set U is represented by the interior of a rectangle. Other sets are represented by the interior of circle. So U represent the universal set. It is the rectangle part. You represent the universal set, and inside it, these circular parts represent the sets. In this figure 1.2, we can see that U consists of all these points 1 to from 1 to 10, and is a universal set of which A consists 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So A is a set which consists some part of the universal set. So we can say A is a subset of universal set, and B consists some part of universal set 4, 6. So all these are subsets. It is seen that uh, B is a subset of A. The reader will see an extensive use of the Venn diagram when we discuss the operations of on sets. So when we will discuss operation on sets, so these Venn diagram are very useful. Operations are like we do in mathematics plus addition, subtraction, multiplication. These are the operation, but in sets, they are different kind of operation like union, intersection, complement, and other stuff. All of you, did you have any problem till now? Hello? Okay. So complement of a set, 1 minute, Venn diagram. Hmm. Complement of a set. So what is complement of a set? Let we understand. Let the universal set U be the set of all prime numbers. Let A be the subset of U which consists of all those prime numbers that are not divisors of 42. Thus A equal to X such that X belong to U and X is not a divisor of 42. We see that 2 belong to U but 2 does not belong to A because 2 is a divisor of 42. Similarly, 3 belong to U, but 3 does not belong to A, and 7 belong to U, but 7 does not belong to A. Now, 2, 3, and 7 are the only elements of U which do not belong to A. The set of these three prime numbers, such as the set 2, 3, 7, is called the complement of A with respect to U and is denoted by A complement. So we have A complement 2, 3, 7. Thus, we see that A complement is equal to X as the X belong to U and X does not belong to A. This leads to the following definition. So basically a complement, if we talk about if there is a universal set and there is a set and we want to take the complement of that particular set, which for example a universal set consists the value from 1 to 10, and there is a set which consists the value from 1 to 4, and we want to take the complement of that particular set that which consists the value 1 to 4. Let's rename it as B. So when we take the complement of that particular set, then excluding the values from 1 to 4, we the left value which are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all those values are set to be A complement, which will be denoted like A dash above A, and we write equal to and then curly braces, and then we write 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and curly braces close. So that particular thing is like a complement. So a complement set is also a kind of set. So this particular set can also be written in the set builder form, in both the form roster or tabular or set builder form. So let's read the definition. Let U be the universal set and A is a subset of U. So U is a universal set and A is a subset of U. Then the complement of A with respect to U is the set of all elements of U which are not the element of A. So this is the complement of the set which excluding the A. So these, as we can see, these lines uh, which we are showing us that this area is a complement, A complement. U is set of all elements of U which are not the element of A. Symbolically, we write A complement to denote the complement of A with respect to U. So this part is A complement, which does not include the values of A. Thus A complement is equal to X such that X which belong to U. So elements are only belong to the universal set, and X does not belong to A, and the elements which are in this region are not belong to A. It can be represented by Venn diagram as like this. So this is how the Venn diagram is very useful to visualize the set in particular. Let's see this example. Let U is equal to this 10 and A is equal to consist of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. If we want to take A complement, then we know that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 are the only element of U which do not belong to A. Hence, A complement will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now, operation of set. As we know that in mathematics, we perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division from our from our very small classes till now. But now we are going to learn about different kind of operation which are for sets, like union of sets. So basically, what is union? As you can see, this Venn diagram where this is A set and this is B set, which are intersecting to each other. So if we take the union of both the set, we get all the values which are in A and also in B. Symbolically, we write A union B. So this is a symbol for union. So A union B is equal to X such that X belong to A or X belong to B, which means the element can be in A or can be in B, and usually read as A union B. And this particular thing is read as A union B. A union B. The union of two sets can be represented by a Venn diagram as shown in the shaded portion in figure 1.4 represent A union B, as you can see. Now the intersection basically we are going to find out the common part of both the sets. As we can see, there is A set and there is B set, and there is a shaded part between it. So the intersection symbol is this inverse of U shaped, but a kind of its width is larger than a particular U. So the shaded portion between A and B is this, and we say it is an intersection of A and B, and it is the common elements which we found in both the sets. So intersection B is equal to X as the X belong to A and X belong to B, as we specified here, and which say that the element is going to be in set A and also in set B. If a particular element is only in set A and it is not in set B, then that particular element is not considered. Those elements which are present in set A and also in set B, those elements are only going to be considered. So and X belong to B and read as A intersection B. The intersection of two sets can be represented by a Venn diagram as the shaded portion represent A intersection with this area. And if there is no common element between two sets, so the result will come as 5, as you can see. because there is no element, and if there is nothing in a set, then that particular set is represented as phi. Please note that sometime we mistake and we put curly braces before and after the phi, and that thing is not considered as a null set or empty set, because now it is specifying that a particular an element is present inside the set. So we should not do like that. Now difference of set. So like subtraction, in subtraction we find out the differences. For example, if 4 minus 2, the difference between 4 and 2 is 2. In the same way, we do difference of sets, where if we want to find out the difference between two sets like A and B, where B is a set and A is also a set, and we want to find out only those elements which are in set A, not those elements which are in both A and B, then we use A minus B. So A minus B we use, and the result which we get is the element which are only in A, as you can see. So that A minus B is equal to X, such that X belongs to A and X does not belong to B. So and specify that the element, whatever the element may be, it will only be going to be present in A and not in B, and is represented by Venn diagram. In figure, the shaded portion represent A minus B, as you can see. Now the application of sets.
Hello.
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 Yeah, hello.
Bro, ये मोबाइल
Wha-
पे वॉइस नहीं आ रही. हेलो.
Yeah,
सुन पा रहे हो? मोबाइल पे आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
rejoin and see again.
चेक कर लिया वैसे तो. दो तीन बार ट्राई किया, ऑडियो कर सकते हो.
I think you have network issue.
हेलो.
Very bad. Your voice is breaking.
ज्वाइन नहीं हो रहा है. ठीक है तो कंप्यूटर पे.
You can see the recording. It will be
ओके,
available soon.
कंटिन्यू.
Okay.
रिकॉर्डिंग का ऑप्शन नहीं मिल रहा है मोबाइल के अंदर.
Now the recording is going on. When this recording
कंप्यूटर
get
पे.
over, you will get to see on Telegram.
ओके ओके.
Okay. Now the application of sets.
ओके ब्रो.
Okay. Now the application of sets. There are certain a kind of formulas, if we say, which we use to find certain things like this. Number of if we find if we want to find A union B, the number of element in A union B, how we can find. So this particular expression can help us to find out the result, the number of element in A union B. So is I need to explain this or not? Hello? Let A and B be finite set if A intersection B is equal to 5. There is one condition in which the elements of A and elements of B have no common elements in particular. So the result is we getting as 5. So in this case, this expression is formed, which say that number of element in A union B is equal to number of element in A plus number of element in B. So if we know this particular thing, the value of this thing, then we can easily find the number of uh, this particular thing, Na and B. or if we know the union value, number of element in A union B, and we know the number of element in B, then we can easily find out the number of element in A by easily subtracting the B value from this particular thing. And if the element in A union B are either in A or in B, but not in both, as A intersection B is equal to 5. So following follows immediately. In general, if A and B are finite set, then this is the general case which we see always there like this, where some of the elements are present in both. So in that particular case, this expression is not going to work. We need to use this particular expression, which say that the number of element in A union B is equal to number of element in A plus number of element in B minus number of element in A intersection B. So this is the intersection part, and this is the number of element in A means only this part, this moon type part, and number of element in B only this part, not including this, neither this. So number of element in A only this part, not including this part, neither this, and number of element in B only this part, not include this, neither this. And number of element in A intersection B is going to be this part. So if we need to find out what is the number of element in A union B. So A union B, the total number of element in both the sets. So we use this particular expression. Note that set A minus B, A intersection B and B minus A are disjoint at their union is A union B. Therefore, so if there is nothing in common between two sets, we say that the set are disjoint set. As we can see here, this A and B finite set where A intersection B is equal to 5, which means A and B are disjoint sets. Now the Cartesian product of set, if there are two sets and there are two set A and B, and there is an element which is present in A. So A is an element which belong to capital A and B is an element which belong to capital B. So if we multiply both these A into B, if we do A into B, we are multiplying the two sets A in left hand side and B is going to be at right hand side. A, if we do A into B, then we get A comma B, where A is going to be element of this and B is going to be element of this. And if we multiply B into A, then we will get B here and A here. Denotes an ordered pair, and this particular thing is called order pair. And how we get order pair? When we multiply two sets, and the result is going to be enclosed in a small bracket, and this particular thing is called as ordered pair, whose first component is A and the second component is B. So we call A and B as a component, not element. So we call it component. So first component is going to be A and the second component is going to be B. And the position of the component is going to be decide that in what way we are multiplying the sets. If we are multiplying A into B, then the component in the first place is going to be of A and the component in the second place is going to be of B. If we are multiplying B into A, then the component which is going to be at first place is going to be of B and the component which is going to be at second place is going to be of A. Two ordered pair A comma B and C comma D are said to be equal if and only if A equal to C and B equal to D. We are saying that A comma B and C comma D, which are two ordered pair, we are saying that A comma B is equal to C comma D. It is only possible when the element of A is going to be equal to C and the element which is in B is going to be equal to D, which means the component A is going to be equal to C and the component B is going to be equal to D. If component A is equal to D, then we are not going to say that these two ordered pair are equal. It should be equal to the same component, A equal to C and B equal to D. then we say these two order pair are equal. In the order pair A comma B, the order in which the element A and B appear in the bracket is important. So earlier I said that whatever we write in set builder or tabular form, for example, the set of 10 natural number like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So that particular thing can be written in any form. In any form, that particular thing can be written as 1 5 7 6 2 like this. But in this, the order is matter. In that particular case, the order does not matter, but in this, order is matter. So if we write A comma B, it will be A comma B. If we write B comma A, then that those two value are not going to be same. It is going to be different like this. A comma B and B comma A are two distinct ordered pairs. So these two are different kind of values. Where A does not equal to B, A does not equal to B. Also, an ordered pair A comma B is not the same as the set A comma B, and the ordered pair A comma B is not as same as A comma B, because in the set we the order does not matter. We can write B comma A, it will always be same like A comma B. So if a set there is A comma B and there is a set which is B comma A, we can say the set A comma, if we name it as A and that set as B, then we can say that A equal to B. Those sets are equal and also equal. But in this case, ordered pair case, if there is A comma B order pair and there is a B comma A order pair, they are not going to be equal, because the component at the place of A is not going to be equal like B, and the place of B is not going to be equal as A. So the set of all ordered pair A comma B of element where A belong to capital A, this is the set, and it may be any set, and B belong to capital B, is called a Cartesian product of set A and B and is denoted by A cross B. So A cross B, which is if we are multiplying two sets and whatever that set may be, and the result is going to be like this. A, which is the element of set A, and B is going to be the element of set B, and this kind of representation can be altered. If we multiply B into A, then B is going to be come here and A is going to come here, and B belong to uh, small b belong to capital B and A belong to capital A is going to be written. So they are something which we need to keep in mind. If A is equal to 5 or B is equal to 5, then A cross B is equal to 5. These results we need to remember, or I say we can learn this result. If A does not equal to 5 and B does not equal to 5, then A into B does not equal to 5. Thus, A into B does not equal to 5 if and only if A does not equal to 5 and B does not equal to 5. Also, A and into B does not equal to B into A. So here they're saying that set A is not equal to 5, which means set A consists some kind of element. B does not equal to 5, which means B consists some kind of element. And A into B does not equal to 5, which means if the Cartesian product which we are getting after doing A into B is also not is also consists some kind of element. Thus A into B is does not equal to 5. So what is the condition when A into B is not going to be 5? It is going to happen if and only if A is not equal to 5, which means if set A is not a null set and set B is also not a null set, then we can say that the Cartesian product, which is going to be A into B, which is not equal to 5. So this condition is going to be met when these two condition is going to be met. So if A is not equal to 5 and B is not equal to 5, which means both the set consist some kind of value, then which means the Cartesian product which we are going to do is also not going to be a 5. If any one of them is going to be 5, then the Cartesian product is going to be 5, because and is written not or, which says both condition to be met. if the set A has m element and the set B has no element, then A into B has mn element. So the set A consists of m element and the set B consists of n elements. And if we multiply, which means if we do Cartesian product A into B, then the number of element is going to be come in this Cartesian product is going to be m in mn. So we can find the number of element two sets is going to be to make by using this m into n. If A and B are non-empty sets and either A or B is an infinite set, so is A into B. So if A and B are non-empty set, which means they consist some kind of value, either A or B is an infinite, and if any one of them is infinite set, so is A into B. So which means if A and B consists of some kind of element and one of them is infinite set, then the Cartesian product which we will do is going to be infinite. So these 4 points, no 5. If A equal to B, then A into B is expressed as A square. So we are saying that A equal to B, which means the number of the elements which are present in A is same as the element which are present in B. So when we do a Cartesian product of the equal set, we can write those kind of set like this A square. So if there's a set named A consists of 1, 2, and there's a set named B consists of 1, 2, then if we do A into B, that particular A into B can also be written like this, A square. We can also define in a similar way ordered triplets. So ordered triplet, before we are dealing with two order pairs, now there are three order pairs, where three sets are going to be multiplied with each other. If A, B, and C are three sets, then A, comma B, comma C, where A belong to A, B belong to B, C belong to C, is called an ordered triplet. The Cartesian product of set A, B, and C is defined as A into B into C, which is equal to A, comma B, comma C, such that A belong to A, comma B belong to B, comma C belong to C. So the way we multiply the sets, in the same way we designate the places of the values which are going to come in the components. What component is going to hold which set's value, that is decided by saying this. An ordered pair and ordered triplet are also called two tuples and three tuples. So these terms also used to say the duplet and triplet, two tuple and three tuple respectively. In general, if A1, A2, and AN are n sets, then A1, A2, AN is called n tuple. So if we are multiplying n number of sets from with each other, then this kind of order pair which we are going to get, and that thing is called n tuple, where AI belong to small ai belong to capital AI, small I belong to I is equal to 1 to till n, which means the value we only need to put the value in I, and the different values we are going to get. And the set of all such n tuples is called the Cartesian product of A1, A2 till AN. It denoted by A1, A2 into AN. Thus, A1 into A2 into AN is equal to A1, A2, AN. AI belong to AI, where I is going to be greater than equal to 1 and less than equal to 1. Summary of this chapter is, this unit tells us about the set and their representation. As we know that what is set? Set is a well-defined collection of objects. How we can represent set? Set can be represented in two forms: tabular form or set builder form. Tabular form is also known as roster form. We study the concept of empty set. Now we know that what is empty set. If there is no element in a particular set, then that particular set is called an empty set, and it is denoted by phi. Finite and infinite set. We know what is finite set. The number of elements are countable, and the infinite set in which the number of elements cannot be counted. We know now what is equal set. The equal set which consists of same kind of similar values, those set are called equal set, and the equivalent set are those which consist of same number of elements. And an equal set is an equivalent set also. We know the what is universal set. Universal set is a mother of all set, we can say. All the concept discussed is well illustrated by standard example. The different operations on sets like complement. We know what is complement. Complement means if there is a universal set and there is a set, the universal set holds 1 to 10 value, and there is a set which hold only 1, 2, 2 values. Then excluding those 2 values, all the other values is said to be complement of that universal set, of that particular set. For example, A 1, 2 consists, and U consists 1 to 10, and A complement is going to be 3 to 10. We know operation on sets, different operation like union, which give us all the elements in both the sets. Intersection, which will which give us only the elements which are common in both the set. And difference of two sets, which give only those elements which are particularly present in only one set, not in other. And we also get to know about application of sets, that how we can use the sets, those two expression. Application of sets, these two expression n and this one, these two expression we get to know. And applications are also discussed here. So this is all. Let's do question answers tomorrow and see what we will get. Should I stop recording? Hello? Should I stop recording?